Hi, here's a quick update on how update workflow works. Before we create a workflow, let me set things up real quick. So let me create a monitor. I I'll create a temporary monitor, like we can say home page or something as such. Select manual from the list, create monitor. The monitor is currently operational because we haven't done anything to it so far. The next thing I'll do is I'll click on more, click on workflows and create a new workflow. So I'll say on update incident, for example. And this will work for you could potentially use this technique for any update workflows. I'm just using it for incident, like for now. Click on enable, click on next, click on create workflow. Once the workflow is created, click on view workflow, builder, and here you'll see the trigger endpoint. So once I click on this trigger, I can pick a component from the list, which would be on create incident. On create incident, click on create, and I'm sorry, I added the wrong component, so it should be on update incident. So on update, click on cancel, click on trigger, it should be on update incident. And when I have this incident on the workflow, and this workflow is created. So what I'll do next is I'll click on I'll create an incident and I'll show you how that works, like how that looks like. So temp incident, if I see major incident created as home page, click on offline, and the incident is created. And when I look at the workflow, you should see the update incident, and you should see multiple workflows being executed. The reason this happens is because the server on the back end updates incident objects. So whenever a server updates the incident, you will have the new workflow being triggered. So we do send emails to subscribers and people on your team, and whenever that happens, the incident object updates, and when the incident object updates, a new workflow will be created. So you'll see potentially multiple runs of this workflow. To prevent multiple runs of this workflow, you could click on view workflow again, click on builder, click on this object, and here we have this thing called listen on. And you could potentially type in any field that you are listening on. So you could say whenever title updates, only title updates, only then execute this workflow. So you could say title true, and when I click on save, this workflow will only execute when the title updates of the incident. So if I click on incidents, click on view incident, if I update the description, the workflow will not update. So if I click on workflows, click on run, like I said, this workflow will this workflow updates when things update. So you could say this is true, is on. So we send emails, and this is why this workflow updates. But after these 3 runs, the workflow shouldn't update. The workflow shouldn't execute when the description is updated. So let me update the description one more time, and click on workflows and click on runs and logs. So you'll only see these 3 runs so far. But when I update the title of the incident, you should see an execution. So when I click on incident, update the title, click next, hit save, you should see an execution happen. So you could potentially listen on many fields. So you could potentially listen on current incident state ID. You could you could listen for many fields. Those fields are in the documentation, in the API documentation for the incident object. If you do need help with anything as such, feel free to contact support. We're more than happy to help you. Thanks so much for your time.